have of our people back home. I know they are part of us. So I'm not only saying very good evening to all the good people of Ogun State that are here, but to all Nigerians and by extension, all of us that are black and those that are friends of Nigeria and our friends in Ogun State. So good evening, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Excellency. I was going to add on top as well that it has been a long time trying to actually get you to be a guest on in our studio, but it is a privilege to get where you stayed, and you're here now. Now, let's quickly rewind back as looking into your historical background, coming from somebody who's an accountant and then going into politics. How would you describe your move from private sector and becoming a public figure in Nigeria?
Well, let me say this, that truly I never imagined really that I would find myself in politics like this. Indeed, it happened some 30 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. When I see people going into politics, some that are professionals, I go to them and tell them that, what do you want to do in Nigerian politics? You know, the way we say it is a dirty game. Why do you want to be there? I remember one of our elders, he represented us at the Senate. When he was going into politics, I met with him and I said, sir, what are you doing in politics? God has been kind to you. So he said, well, let me go and try. People came, this, that, and I want to accede to all their requests. So when he saw me one day, and I said, sir, I'm going to politics, he looked at me and said, you want to destroy yourself? And he plays with me like that. But answering your question, I think it will get to a point in one's life, and you ask yourself, what is this life all about? If you cannot truly give it back to probably your roots, and those that believe that, oh, I can add value, I can change things. When you see, you perceive that things are not going right, or maybe you, not just when it's not going right, when you think that, okay, yes, people are doing their bit, but I think I can add my own efforts too. Mm-hmm. And that's how I found myself in politics. And just like play, I started, and to the glory of God, it's been a huge success story, really, because what I set out to do through the benevolence of the Almighty Lord and the support that our people are given for me back home, we've been able to achieve some. We are not there yet, but truly we're on the right track, and I no regrets. And I'm happy that a politician.
Now, of course, going backward as well, you have been within few parties. And what is the difference between the party that you became a senator in Nigeria and your present party of today? Well,
let me put it in the right perspective. I'll probably say, yes, maybe this is my third party, because I started with PDP. And when I realized that there's need for me to look for other alternatives than PDP, other platforms, that time I should ordinarily have just go to AD. But if you know what was happening then, where I come from, and there's something, yes, politics will come and go. It will not just be about politics, we will live beyond politics. It was then that I realized that there was this difference, let me put it like that, between the then president and the vice president. And when the vice president was going into AC then, back home, it's like, oh, if I opted for AC, it would be like, oh, are you fighting the president and everybody? And I said, no, I just want to prove a point and tell people that, yes, if you are determined to serve and your people love you, they know that you are genuine, you are truthful with them, they will follow you. That's why I found myself in the NPP. The people even tell me then that, oh, what are you doing in the NPP? They will say ANPP is not known to us in the south, particularly southwest, and probably even south-south, that it's more of a northern party. But again, we were there, and to the glory of God, you saw what we did. Our people followed us there. And of course, where I think I naturally belong, and that is the progressive fold.
Yeah.
When the opportunity creates itself again. So we're there. And I think this is where I've always loved to be. And I'm happy that finally we're in the progressive, in the fold of the progressive. And that's the story so far.
And then, of course, then you became the governor of the Gateway State, Ogun State, one of the state, actually the only state in Nigeria that probably produced quite a lot of fresh in the history of Nigeria, from the musicians, icons, social, well, almost everything really. When you became the governor in 2011, what did you find on the ground, and how will you see the changes that have taken effect in the state?
Well, let me say this, and when we were campaigning around, particularly in 2005, 6, 7, to the 2007 election, when I see the enthusiasm of our people, I tell those that are following me that, oh, I am worried. They ask me that, are you not happy? Everybody is. I said, no, that I'm worried in the sense that if you see the enthusiasm, the expectation is so high like this. So I get worried that, wait, how am I going to quickly? Because if people are expectant, they want everything, everybody is like, oh, this magician is coming. Once he comes in, everybody. Then you begin to ask yourself, God, whereas others are seeing, yes, that brighter side of it, everybody is just like what is happening now. Everybody is identifying with us. Then you ask yourself, you pray to God that, God, all of these people that believe in me, give me that wherewithal in terms of the intellect, in terms of the everything that you will need, of course, to make that difference so that they will be happy. So when everybody was doing happy, jumping around, for me, I was thinking that, oh, I have a lot to do. And yes, 2011 came, just as what we expected. Everybody, they were for me. And I realized that, oh, God, once you are there, we must hit the ground running. But you know it's different. When you get into an office and you see what, this is truly what is on ground, then you have to sit down and marshal a plan. Yes, of course, we were running around. We have our manifesto. We want to do this. We want to do that. Then you get in reality, beckons. Then you sit down and say, what do you do? Ordinarily, yes, quote and unquote, I find myself in politics. I don't call myself a professional politician. Happens to be those that we are not professional, we are not politicians like that, but we find ourselves in politics, and yes, we've been able to manage to cope. So I got there, and the first challenge was that, politicians want to be everywhere there. And I asked myself, no, we have to bring in the best brains, people that can actually help me to achieve those dreams. If you get to a place and you meet about, even my predecessor said he left 50 billion by way of debt. If you look at all the states, all, and I maintain all, probably except Lagos, and you know what has happened in Lagos. Because for me, it's not even the quantum of the debt, really. If you look at, what do you have by way of internally generated revenue, or by way of whatever money that comes to the states, if you know that, I have this quantum of money, then you can, of course, at any time when there's need to service those debts, if you have the capacity to do it, then it will pale into insignificance if you begin to say, so it's only this much. But in relation to what Ogun State, what we earn, I don't know of any state that was worse than Ogun State. I can quote, Oyo left probably about 3 billion, Edo maybe about 1 billion debt. It's like that. But Ogun State 50 billion, on what they said. But when we came in, we realized that we asked people, this is our tough. Please go through the account, let's see what is on ground. They came with about 87 or so billion naira that they were owing. Even up to today, people still come and say, they are doing this, they are doing that. They will still be saying, they are owing us this, they are owing that. So if you have 18, but 84, 80, whatever billion, then you know there's a problem. You know then there's a problem.
Answer a phone call, but I don't know, Your Excellency. Let me see. Hello, do you have a call on the line?
Hello?
Hello, you're welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
All right. My name is Anna.
Okay? And
I'm calling from London.
okay, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Can I make my contribution?
Yes, please ask His Excellency your question.
Hello? Can I make my contribution?
Yes, please do.
Yes. What I'm going to say is that, you know, when they make the advert both widely, yeah, the man that speaks in Yoruba says, explaining to people
yes.
what to do during the voting, yeah? That man, I'm looking at him in the TV now. Now, he speaks in Yoruba fully, explaining to people. Then he speaks in Hausa fully, explaining to people.
I think Tony...
He speaks in Igbo, he said dialogue.
Let's take it.
And then,
Yes, I think she's talking in relation, really. First, she wants to talk on the relation that I'm asking people to pledge peace in Nigeria instead of going into violent attitude with the coming election. So let me come back to you.
I see. Okay, so you came here and you discovered that, oh, this is what is on ground. There's no, I mean, all the arms of the civil servant, they were being owed. Doctors were being owed. Everybody were being owed. Then you know that reality beckons. Then you have to sit there and say, oh, how do I get out of this quagmire where I found myself? It wasn't totally unexpected, but we didn't realize that it was that bad. So, but we thank God, we put our teams together, and I make bold to say that, yes, we have very good teams. The only thing is you must be from Ogun State. Wherever you are, we'll come and headhunt for you. Whether you are here, you are in the States, you are within Nigeria, there, wherever you are, if you can do the job. So that's the first thing, the challenge that I have, to put the team together. And of course, that comes with a challenge. The politician, the professional politicians felt that, wait a minute, who are the people you are bringing now? Where were they when we were running around? And I tell them that 1% of something is better than 100% of nothing. It will not make any sense if we just put ourselves there and we cannot even, if we are there, we met this huge debt. Salaries can't be paid, this can't be paid, that can't be paid. Then there's a problem. We need to get people there that will sit down with me. No, I'm not putting down the politicians. There are some of them, yes. They are professionals too, and they can do well. So those ones, yes, they were part of what we are doing. And today we have very good news to tell. Okay. Yes, we are not there, and that's how we started. Okay. And one, we realized that, one, we need to plug all the loopholes, which we did. We need to go cashless, which we did. In fact, the totality of what we are trying to do is to reverse that ugly trend. Nobody wants to touch Ogun State with the longest of poles. Ogun State was more of a pariah state. Security totally collapsed. People were being killed at will, everybody, for wrong reason. Ogun State was being put on the front pages of newspaper for wrong reason. You will see nude pictures, you know, all of those things I don't need to recount. Okay. Because I don't even want people to remember Ogun State for that terrible era.
Don, we have to give it to you. When we watch the political debate of Ogun State, even the other candidate gave credit to you in terms of security improvement in the state. Yes. Now, would you say your accounting background actually helped in the situation or being a governor in the state?
I don't know. I won't say it's just about the profession, but it just happens that where Ogun State found, where we found ourselves when we came in, of course, my profession readily comes handy, and of course it has helped us. But I won't say that, yes, you may have people of other discipline, if they found themselves as at the helm of affairs in Ogun State. Yes, if they have the determination and because it's important. If you are not sincere, you can't achieve anything. The sincerity must be there. You must truly, truly love your people, and you must be ready to give it to them. So I think that is what has helped. And the support that we are getting, we still get it every day from the workforce, who I call our landlords, and the generality of the good people of Ogun State. Everybody. They believe in what we are doing. They see the sincerity of purpose, the determination, and that's how we started. And we are not looking back. And we thank God today that every facet that was bad, we are now turning turning it around. You just mentioned the one that, for me, what we did in security, it's critical. It's very, very important, because nothing can happen in an atmosphere of insecurity. So much so that you've mentioned it, World Bank rated us as one of the best, is it first four or so, in doing business in Nigeria. And when you look, when you take it in perspective and you look at where Ogun State, where we were, just in the last survey that they did, Ogun State actually came last in the ease of doing business in Nigeria. And look at that turnaround that we will now be saying. In any case, let me even put it, because I don't know if, I mean, a lot of people must have gone through the report. I think it was 4 or 5 yes, areas that they actually evaluated. Yes. So out of those, we were first in 3. So, I mean, the parameters was about 5. Ogun State came first in 3 in the entire nation. So what does that tell you? It tells you that, yes, we are getting it right. We have turned things around. And today, we are the beautiful bride. Everybody wants to come to Ogun State. They want to do business with us. At the last count now, probably maybe about 61 now. Every day, we are opening one company or another. People are doing shifts now. Before we came in by 4, everybody's gone home. But now we have 3 shifts, the morning, the afternoon, and those that do the night shift. So,
okay. Excellency, let's hear another caller. Hello, your name and where you're calling from, please. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good evening. Your name, where you're calling from?
Is that Senator Bukumeze?
Yes, very good evening.
Good evening, sir. I just wanted to say to you, make a very great point. In Nigeria now, we see that the APC is factioning and coming with this transformation. I want to ask you as an accountant, what critical role would you play in order to transform our economy if APC come into government? And secondly, what other role would APC do in terms of helping us in our GDP per capita head? Because the lives of the Nigerians, the disposable income for the common Nigerians are not stable. That's the question and the contribution I would like to make. And finally, the power and health sector. What reforms do you guys have in your manifesto to tackle those epileptic and serious situations that have been burdening us for such a long time?
Thank you very much. Could I get your name?
My name is Dennis. I'm calling from Leicester.
From Leicester. Okay, thank you very much.
Danielson. Okay.
Yeah, from Leicester.
Thank you. We are not saying transformation. If you have followed us, APC, we are saying change. Because you can't continue to transform what is bad. No. We want to change. We want to do away with what everybody, not just Nigerians, everybody world over. This is not where Nigerians should be. We are for change, positive change at that. It talks about the economy. In a scenario where the foreign reserve goes down from about 60 billion to probably less than 2018, then you know there's a problem. In a scenario where even to have 3 square meal is a problem, then you know there's a huge problem. Look at the other day, look at the huge unemployment that we have. And it will continue to be like that unless we change our perception, we change the way we do things in Nigeria. As we speak today, Nigeria is a monolithic economy. Nobody wants to, all make us lazy really. And we identify this. If you look at what we said as APC, 3 things that we said we will tackle. We talk about security, we talk about unemployment, and the 3rd one is corruption. Because when you remove corruption, I mean, it has eaten into the entire fabric of what governance in Nigeria as we speak today. But for me, the last time when the immigration, when they called for application, you saw what happened. Indeed, at that time, people don't know. I think the maximum number that was even there for grabs after all that have been done is probably less than 5,000. Look at the number of people that came to say they wanted to apply for the job, even if it resulted into deaths. That tells you that we are not getting things right. There's a lot of things that in place. It will not happen in one day. We are no magicians. You must plan, you must know what you want to do. It's only here in Nigeria. Look at the dollar, for instance. Look at the exchange rate. I think sterling today, it will be about 300 and something. over 300. Dollars officially now, they said 198 or so. I mean, so what is happening to us as a nation? In the black market, you know how much dollar is. So how can we? And we do not have any other means of, income other than through maybe this dollar that we get from our oil. And look at what is happening to us as a nation. It's only in Nigeria that nobody will say anything when probably the interest rate will jump. Here, when you see basis points, maybe just 1 or 2 basis points, people shout. But in Nigeria, you will see absolute numbers. The thing will move from maybe 12 to 20, it will be 27, nobody talks. That is not how to transform a nation. So, we have said, our party have said something that is key. If we are able to secure our place, like I've said, nothing can happen in an atmosphere, that is devoid of peace. In violence, nothing happens. When people believe that, what is happening is in the Northeast, look at what has happened now. So much so that, look at even our election. The military are saying that because of our engagement in the Northeast, we cannot even secure the entire nation. 14 local governments was affected, truly. So because of 14 now, they've delayed all the 760 remaining local governments. It tells you that security is key. In this, security will bring about even this economic rejuvenation that we want to do, because without it, nothing can happen. Okay. And we have said that unemployment is key. How do you tackle unemployment? Number one, through agriculture. Unless we go back to basics, it will be a vicious circle the way it is. How many people do even this, our oil, the energy sector, how many does he employ? Look at our young graduates. And how many can government, unless we are deceiving ourselves, how many can government, even in this UK, how many do government employ? You must let the private sector drive it. Any economy that will be successful must be private sector driven. Okay. And you must create an enabling environment for private sector to thrive. No investors will come. You look at what is happening now. Everybody is hedging now. Nobody nobody knows what is going to happen. And that is why, unless we have this election quickly, Nigeria will be in the doldrums. We are actually in the doldrums now. Okay.
Let's quickly take, I think we have another caller. Is that on Skype? And where is he Skyping from?
Governor.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from London.
Okay.
Southeast.
Okay, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, my name is Abioye Odeyemi.
Okay.
I just want to say hello to our governor of the state. I'm from Abeokuta.
Okay, good.
I really appreciate what he has been doing in our country, as in the state. I really appreciate, because I could remember some 2012-13, we don't have any security in the state at all. The security was so bad. I was a victim that I traveled from London with my son and I got robbed. We nearly killed. So since then I don't have interest of going to Nigeria anymore. But when it comes as a governor, I can see when I went there, a lot of things have changed. I am even praying for him to go for second time, because he has made a change in Ogun State. See, I was born and bred in Ogun State, Abeokuta. And since I was born and bred in Ogun State, I never see such a street, such a road in Ogun State in my life. I'm 50 years by age. I never see such a road in Ogun State. I was surprised to even see over edge. I was even thinking I was in Abuja. I prayed for him, and God will lift him up. God will be with him. We are not be able to go one fold, but we pray that he will win the second election.
Okay.
I really appreciate him. I'm really impressed.
Thank you very much.
I even pray if such a person can be a president in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Abioye.
My pleasure. Thank you. That's why we're there. That's what you elected us to do, to serve the people, and that we will do. And don't forget, we are Ogun State. And I'm not just saying this for the camera. You mentioned it. We were the first to have access to Western education. We were the cradle of civilization. You just mentioned, it's by no accident that even those that have had the opportunity to rule Nigeria from the Yoruba extraction, they are from Ogun State. You just name it. Whether it's Obasanjo, whether it's Shoneko, whether it's even the MKO, that nobody has achieved that feat. Everybody agree united on one man. The man is from Ogun State. pick any discipline, the accountancy profession, I'm an accountant. Baba is still there, the doyen of the profession. Akintola Williams is there. You just name the profession, you will see us in the forefront. And it is not by accident that Ogun State is like that. So for us, for me, it's a challenge. And it's a covenant with me and my God and with all these people. Because when you see them, they show love, everybody believe in you, then you must work for them. And that's what we are doing.
Good. Hello, our next caller, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, I'm Jimmy, calling from Belgium.
Jimmy from Belgium, you're welcome to the program, sir.
Yeah, just want to greet the Excellency.
Thank you, good evening.
Yeah, more good to
Thank you. Okay.
We appreciate what you are doing for Ogun State. But the issue, I want to ask a question.
Please.
The question is on the flag bearer of APC. We have seen what the governorship aspirant of APC has been doing, fine, but the presidential aspirant, that is in the person of General Muhammad Buhari,
Yes.
people are saying a lot of things, concerning, but where we have people like you, Amechi, Okorosha, Fashola, and the problem, people are saying now that this man, Buhari, is not qualified, or this or that. Why people like why people like you are here, and this man happen to be the #1 flag bearer of APC, and now I can see that maybe other parties, they are trying to, claim his integrity, that is not capable. People like you that are there and other